Someone said it to you, probably more than once. You think too much, and they say it like they're doing you a favor, like there's a knob in your head cranked too far, and if you'd just ease it back, you'd be lighter about everything, easier to be around. I want to push on that though, because what they're calling a problem is really your brain doing one very particular thing. And once you can see the thing itself, that little comment stops landing the way it used to. Give me the next 10 minutes. The third thing I'm going to walk you through is the one almost everybody reads backwards. The people telling you to relax very much included. First, can we kill the word overthinking? It's lazy. People say it when they sense something going on in you and can't be bothered to name it, and it explains nothing. Drop it. What I want to leave you with instead is 3 separate things that fire off in your head when someone hits you with that line. One of them is quietly grinding you down. One is closer to a talent than a defect, though you've probably spent years treating it like the defect. And near the end, there's a single question that pulls the two apart. The line between a mind that's on your side and a mind that's slowly chewing on itself. Barely anyone gets taught this. You're about to be. Start where it hurts. Lights off, you're finally in bed, and your head, not asking, it never asks, drags up a conversation from 4 days back. A thing you said, how it sounded out loud, the exact face they made when it landed. Then the mean part. It reruns the whole scene and hands you the line you should have used, showing up now, days after it could have done a thing. There's a word for this, rumination. And no, you're not being dramatic. It behaves like a loop. Some unfinished feeling stays open like a browser tab you can't get to close, so it just sits there running in the background, draining you, waiting on an ending that already happened without it. And notice who it hits hardest. The people who care the most about getting it right. You run the conversation back because you didn't want to wound anyone, because being misread sits wrong with you. It's care with no exit. And it fixes nothing. You already know that. Think about the last night you burned 2 hours on a replay. Did the replay change one thing? Or did you just get up tired with the same knot in your chest? There's your tell. Thinking that's actually doing its job moves toward an answer. This just orbits the same drain and calls itself productive. Hold on to that word, orbits. We come back to it because it turns out to be the whole ball game. Now the one nobody ever thanks you for. You step into a room, and inside a few seconds, you've clocked it. Who's wound tight? Who's performing, "I'm fine"? The little gap between the words coming out of someone and whatever their face is quietly doing. Most people stroll straight past all of it. You pick it up on autopilot, and then you're stuck with it. This isn't a sixth sense, and it isn't only your anxiety talking, though on a rough day it wears the same coat. Your brain's forecasting. It grabs the small stuff, a voice dropping half a step, a beat of eye contact that ran a little long, and plays it forward, forever half asking, "Where's this going?" Way back, that kept people alive. Whoever felt the mood tip before it tipped got out before things went bad. And you've inherited that same equipment, just pointed at a dinner table now instead of something moving in the dark. Here's the tax on it, though. See 6 moves out, and you also see the 6 ways it comes apart, and your brain, meaning well, lays every one of them in front of you in full color. So you stall. The text sits in the box, unsent. You've got something to say in the meeting, and you run it so many times the window closes before your mouth opens. From the outside, you went quiet, so people file you under "had nothing to add." It's the opposite. You had too much, and too many ways it could go, and the machine jammed. Sit with that a second, because it rewrites every time someone called you shy, or slow, or checked out. You weren't gone. You were tracking the whole board. Which drops us onto the one people get flat wrong. including, odds are, whoever told you that you think too much. They blame the volume. Too many thoughts. Turn it down. Fixed. Wrong tree entirely. The volume was never the issue. Picture two people who, on paper, both think a ton. One thinks their way to a decision, turns it over, checks a couple of angles, then actually lands and does the thing. The thinking had a door and they walked through it. The other thinks and no door ever shows. Every answer just cracks open a fresh question. And it feels like effort, feels responsible. So they mistake the churn for progress, but nothing's actually moving. Same amount of thinking, completely different lives. So the thing to ask yourself, and it works right in the moment, isn't, am I thinking too much? That question's useless. Ask instead, is this going somewhere, or am I just going in circles? Direction is the whole test. Thought that travels is about the most powerful thing a person can do. Thought that only loops is a treadmill you've painted to look like a road. And you'll be both of those people inside a single day, sharp and decisive at work, then flat on your back at 2 a.m. running laps around one text message. Says nothing about who you are, it's just which gear's engaged. And the second you can put a name to it, going somewhere or circling, you've got the thing hardly anyone has. A way out. Next time the engine turns over, you don't have to obey it or wrestle it. You check the heading. Going somewhere? Ride it. Circling? Well, you caught it, and catching it is most of the fight. Everyone who told you to think less was aiming at the wrong thing the entire time. It's not less thinking you need, it's thinking that goes somewhere. Not the same instruction at all. And mixing the two up has quietly cost a lot of sharp people a lot of years. So take that sentence back out. You think too much. Hear it now. What they've actually put their finger on is a brain that closes the loops other people leave hanging, that reads a room before the room knows it's being read, that plays the board 6 deep. None of that's damage. Aimed right, it's the same wiring under the people who catch what everyone else skates past. The ones who write. The ones who smell the problem while it's still small. The friend the whole group ends up calling because, somehow, you just got it. The thinking was never the curse. The curse was thinking with no heading and no way off the ride, and not one person ever sitting you down to explain the difference. Now you've got it. Going somewhere or circling? One question. You'll probably catch yourself using it tonight without meaning to, which is the whole idea. So do me a favor and drop it in the comments. Which of the 3 cut closest? The replaying, the reading the room, or the door that won't appear? I actually read them, and the answers tell me a fair bit about who's finding their way here. And if you want the next piece, the one on how you actually shut a loop down when your head refuses to drop a conversation, that's the natural place to go from here. See you there.